Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you for being here today. As always, if you are new here and you are interested in tarot readings, true crime cases, unsolved cases, missing persons cases, and the occasional candle making video or fragrance review making video, please consider subscribing. And for those of you who come back every week, I thank you so much. I do try to upload a tarot reading once a week. I try to upload either a fragrance review video or a candle making video once a month, and I'm trying to get into a regular schedule for bi-weekly lives where I do free mini readings for people. And so that, is what's going on now. Plus I also want to do something for the month of October for Halloween. Again, if there's any suggestions that you guys have, if there's some things that you would like me to read about, and the possibilities are endless. It could be a haunted place, a haunted location. It could be about a particular person, a building, anything that would be kind of creepy and kind of interesting. And just put that in the comment section and I will write that down and I will get to it for the month of October. I don't have a specific schedule yet. I don't know if I could necessarily do a video every day. I don't know how these YouTubers do these daily videos for Halloween, but I definitely will be doing more than one a week. So that's coming. And again, as far as private tarot readings are available. All you have to do is reach out to me. My email address is in the description box. And thank you to all of you who have reached out. I really do appreciate that. Tarot readings usually are about an hour to an hour and a half, depending. I record them and you see me shuffle, you see me pull the cards, which I believe is very important for tarot reading. It just kind of shows the authenticity of the reading. Even these videos, weekly videos, you will always see me shuffle and pull on camera. You will never just see me pop on here and have the cards laying out, or you will never see me pulling cards from something that you can't see and laying them out ahead. I want you to know that the pull is authentic and that what card comes out is a card that we are both seeing for the first time. Okay, so I do think that is important, and so that's how I do my regular weekly readings. That is how I do my private readings as well. And then I will upload it to YouTube, but I upload it as a unlisted video, which just means that it is private to everyone except for you. I send you the direct link and you can view it as many times for however long as you want, unless you ask me to remove it, and I absolutely will, or unless you decide to share that link to someone that you want to watch that video. Your choice. So that's how the private tarot readings work. As far as today's video, and I have to say this is getting done late. I don't know if this is going to be up tonight. It might actually not get up until Sunday morning because it is almost 9 o'clock here. And for those of you who follow me, I was making my fall scented candles yesterday, and it was really late by the time I finished, so I didn't get a chance to make any labels for anything, and so I had to do that today. And so all morning I was just kind of working on my candles and finishing up on that and getting them ready to go up on Etsy, which I still haven't gotten that far yet, but that's what I was doing this morning, and so I kind of got behind, and so this video will be up probably a little bit later than normal, but up nonetheless, so that's what counts, right? But today's video was a case that I wanted to cover months ago. It is a requested video, and it's the case of Morgan Ingram. Okay, so someone requested this, and I did look into this case many months ago, and I backed out. I looked into the case, I fell down the rabbit hole, and I looked into it a little bit further, and out of curiosity I pulled some cards on it and I decided to pull out. And normally I don't pull cards, like I just said. When I pull cards on these cases, 9 times out of 10 the card that I'm seeing is the first time I've seen it. We're seeing it for the first time together. But every once in a while, and I said 9 times out of 10, so not 10 out of 10, 9 times out of 10. So every once in a while there'll be a case where I'm really, really super curious, just out of my own human curiosity, and I'll just grab a deck and I'll pull a few cards just to kind of see what's going on. And Morgan Ingram was in fact one of those cases, and the cards that came out did concern me, to be honest with you. They concerned me as far as mom is concerned, and so I decided not to do the reading. However, since then I have thought about it, and I decided to just try it again and revisit the case and pull the cards and see what comes out, and so that's what we're going to do tonight. But those of you who are not familiar with Morgan Ingram, she was a 20-year-old girl who lived with her parents in Carbondale, Colorado. She was attending college. She had plans to attend law school later on. She loved to dance. I think she was a dancer. I think she was even a yoga teacher, a certified yoga teacher, if I'm not mistaken. She loved taking pictures, photographer, and had recently overcome some illnesses. Okay, so I'm not quite sure what those illnesses were. I think that she had been... I think that she had some issues with carbon monoxide, and I don't know if those early illnesses are referring to the carbon monoxide or if it was something else entirely. But this is a case where we have 3 or 4 possible scenarios. We have possibly a drug overdose, a suicide, a murder, or is it natural causes? So let me just kind of go a little bit into the background. I don't want to spend too much time on it because I do want to have the bulk of the reading to be the tarot cards, but I do want to kind of have everything on the same page. So on the night of December 1st, 2011, Morgan returned home from spending time with a friend, and as she entered the house and passed her mother, Tony, Morgan mumbled the word bitch under her breath, which her mom states was unusual behavior. However, Tony does admit that she was already on her daughter's case before she even walked through the door. So it sounds like when I looked into this story a little bit more, Mom, who is Tony, Mom and Morgan were having some issues, and it sounds like Tony was a little bit, I don't want to say overbearing, but she could be very overbearing, okay? And I believe that Tony and Morgan were sharing a car right now. I think that Morgan's car, I don't know if she had a car or if there were some problems with her car, but her and her mom were sharing her mom's car. And she was out that day. Like I said, she had been at a friend's house, and I think Mom was continuously texting her, asking if she was okay, which I think we do as parents, right? But, I text my kids all the time, and they ignore me, but I know that if they're ignoring me, that everything's fine. It's when they actually reach out to me that I become concerned, because they don't often. So it sounds like Mom was constantly texting Morgan that day, and by the time Morgan comes home, it sounds like, from what I read, she was just kind of sick of her mom at that point and just goes straight into her bedroom and shuts her door. So Tony then goes to her husband, which is Morgan's dad, Stephen, and tells him what happened, and he agrees to go in and talk to his daughter. And he goes into the room, and he finds her laying on her bed on her stomach, wearing flannel pajama pants and a cami top. And he says that they just kind of talked, and they had a good conversation. They talked about life. And he said that she was happy, she was fine, everything was okay, and he told her that he was going to bed, or he told her good night, and she responded with, I love you, Daddy, and that was it. It's the last time he's seen her. So right away, you get a different feeling, a different vibe between Morgan and Mom and Dad. So this could very well be a case of, was she a daddy's girl? But the relationship definitely seemed a bit strained between her and her mom versus her and her dad. So I picked that up right away. So the next morning, Stephen recalls Tony coming down the hallway and tells Stephen something is wrong with Morgan and that she cannot wake her up. Stephen runs into Morgan's bedroom, leans over her bed, and tries to wake her up as well, hoping that she was just extremely tired. He says, quote, I grabbed her shoulder and I shook it, and then I shook it some more, and then I pulled her blankets down, and it was so odd. The way that she was positioned, just everything looked wrong. One of her arms was kind of elevated up off the bed, and it was in the air, and I pulled her over onto her side, and now both of her arms were up like this. Now, Tony, mom, describes what she's seen as her knees were bent, so she looked like she was in a semi-fetal position. Her eyes were wide open and black. I mean, it was just the scariest thing. Her hair was all matted. She had blood on her forehead. I mean, it was just bad. Her bottom lip was swollen. Her nose was smashed. She was on the wrong side of the bed. Everything was just wrong. Morgan's parents then call 911, move her to the floor, and begin doing CPR until paramedics arrive, but sadly Morgan did not survive. So it wasn't until 17 days later, after Morgan was found, that Dr. Robert Kutzman, who was a forensic pathologist, determined her matter of death to be from natural causes as a result of acute intermittent porphyria, if I'm saying that correctly, which is a genetic metabolic disorder. Morgan's parents were stunned at this, and they did not know anything of this genetic disorder, or didn't know anything about Morgan having it. Then 8 months later after that, after further testing, Kutzman revised his findings, and he changed the COD to suicide by drug overdose. The Ingrams are again stunned with this finding. So the Ingrams are now on a mission to prove what they truly believed happened to Morgan, and that she was murdered. So prior to Morgan's death, the Ingrams, in particular Tony, Morgan's mom, and her dad, they claimed that she had been stalked for 4 months leading up to her passing away. And this is where the story just gets bizarre. Let's not forget that Morgan's 20. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So Morgan's 20, she's living at home, and from all accounts, from everything that I have read, Morgan's friends have not really expressed that Morgan was scared from a stalker. Doesn't really sound like it's something that she discussed with people, wasn't something that she was concerned about. In fact, Morgan, being 20, wasn't even the one that went to the police complaining about this stalker. It's coming from mom and dad. So mom and dad took all these measures. They purchased security cameras. There's a like a security button that her dad installs on the bottom of Morgan's bed or in her room somewhere, like an emergency button. Apparently what they claim happened was Morgan would be in her bedroom and someone would tap on her bedroom window, and it would just scare the bejesus out of her, and she would go running. And that she was just absolutely, frightened to the point to where she was actually sleeping in her mom and dad's master bedroom closet on the floor. That she had slept in the closet on the floor in their bedroom for a month. And I just find that so, I mean, I have kids around that age. I mean, granted, they're boys, they're not girls, but I just don't. I mean, this is a nice home. This looks like a beautiful home. It looks like a large home. And I just, on one hand, I'm trying to look at this objectively, and I'm thinking, okay, if you are scared and it's because someone's pounding on your window, maybe you want to be in an area where you feel safe and there's no window. And what better place than a closet, right? Inside of your parents' bedroom. So on one hand, I can kind of understand that it would feel safe. And on the other hand, I'm like, I don't know if a 20-year-old young woman is going to sleep on the floor in her parents' master bedroom closet. But apparently, according to mom and dad, she was so scared that these things were happening, that she was hearing noises, that she felt like she was being watched, and somebody would pound on her window. Her dad would go out and he would look, and he would not find or see anything. And, they could never really see anybody that was doing anything. So was she just scared and she was sleeping on the closet floor? Maybe. That's a possibility. But the fact is that when dad would go out and look for this person pounding on the windows or tapping on the windows or whatever the case may be, he never found anything. Now, they actually did finally one night on the cameras, they did pick up the image of, it looked like a young man walking in the driveway. And apparently the Ingrams show their neighbors this video. And they actually think they recognize this person as Keenan. Let me see his last name, if I can find his last name. Let me see. Keenan Van Ginkel. I think that's how you pronounce it. If it's not, I apologize. So the neighbors actually tell the Ingrams that this boy, or this young man on their video footage, resembles Keenan, who lives 3 doors down with his girlfriend, Brooke Harris. And that is when the hunt to focus, or that's, I think, primarily when mom and dad started, zoning in on Keenan and potentially his girlfriend as being the people behind the stalking. Apparently, remember I said that Tony and Morgan were sharing Tony's car, okay? Apparently, Morgan had shared or borrowed her mom's car one day, and she went out and someone keyed the car from one end to the other, and mom actually believes that who did that, or the person behind that, was Brooke Harris, which is the girlfriend of Keenan. So apparently there's some bad blood, or there's some history. It sounds like there's some history of something going on, possibly between Morgan and Brooke, maybe. I don't know that for a fact. Brooke is denying anything, to do with this. Brooke is denying that she keyed, the car. So she is not saying anything about any history between the two of them. But according to mom, it would sound like there is a history between Brooke and possibly Morgan. However, like I said, there was never any proof or evidence linking Keenan, to being this stalker. Yes, it did kind of look like him on the camera, and he was brought in for questioning, and he denied that it was him. Later on, afterwards, I think it was years later, that he did come out and he did say that it was impossible for him to have been the person that was pounding on Morgan's bedroom window, because he was at work at the time. There were plenty of security cameras where he worked, and on top of that, he had to clock in using his thumbprint. This was not the type of job where you could clock in for someone else. You literally had to put your thumb on the thumbprint in order to clock in, and he had evidence that he was at work, and so he absolutely adamantly maintains his innocence to this day as well. As a matter of fact, I think there is an episode on Dr. Phil where Morgan's parents go on Dr. Phil, and Dr. Phil brings in Brooke Harris, and I think her dad, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if Keenan was on that episode, but I do know Brooke was. And that kind of speaks a lot to me. If a person, like in Brooke's situation, is being accused of something, for them to go on, a show like that, would they do that if they were in it, or would they do that if they were, if they had anything to do with it, is what I'm saying. And then some could argue the same about mom and dad on the flip side. Would the parents, push for this case to be open if they had anything to do with it? So there's a couple of things to consider here. But mom and dad do believe that, their daughter did not commit suicide. They do not believe that their daughter had any kind of natural causes that caused her death. They do believe that the death was caused by murder. They believe that the police tampered with evidence, that they dropped the ball on the investigation. They have reached out and tried to contact their own investigators. I think they've reached out to at least 27 different experts to weigh in on their daughter's case, and they did find one. And I wrote his name down here somewhere, but they did find this one investigator that did actually. Let me see if I can find his name here. Dr. Michael Doberson. Okay, and so they actually got him to look into Morgan's case, and he did look into it, and he says, quote, his opinion on the initial ruling of the autopsy is the following. After reviewing all of the information that I had for this case, I was really surprised, especially in the face of having lethal levels of amitriptyline in her blood. I just found it very confusing. So that's another thing that's added to this case. On top of that, there were massive amounts of amitriptyline, which is a drug usually prescribed for abdominal pain and headaches, that was found in her system. So if someone is prescribed this drug, a normal dosage level would be 50 to 250. But Morgan had almost 8,000 nanograms per milliliter in her blood, so very toxic level of amitriptyline in Morgan's bloodstream. And then there were also high levels of Flexerol, which is a muscle relaxer, and that was found in her system as well. And that's something that Morgan was not prescribed at the time, and it can also be used as a date rape drug, so I'll add that in there too. And again, another thing that Morgan's parents have mentioned is that the position of her fingers. So apparently an investigator reached out to the Ingrams years later and asked them if Morgan knew sign language, and they responded and they told him that yes, in fact she did teach herself sign language. And they asked why did this person want to know, and he said that it looked like in the photos of the crime scene that it looked like Morgan was actually signing two letters, K and N. And so with that being stated, they really put the emphasis on Keenan, okay, because that would actually kind of go with their theory. So they think that Morgan was trying to actually sign that Keenan was the one responsible for doing this to her. So lots of things going on. I don't want to get too deep into it because I feel like if you're here, you're probably somewhat familiar with this case. But I do want to mention a show that I found, and it really kind of brings a different perspective to this case, and it's called The Investigation into the Death of 20-year-old Morgan Ingram with Paul Holes. And he actually he talks about this case, but he illuminates the issue with the family credibility, okay? He actually kind of paints a picture of mom being overbearing and that Morgan could have potentially been depressed. I guess he mentions where Tony apparently had a blog where she chronicled Morgan's stalking. And he also mentions, which I didn't know this, that the parents both failed lie detector tests in the beginning when they were specifically asked about the stalking. So that was the section that they both failed. And so we know that that's not, credible in the court of law, right? But it does help kind of a little bit. That it does make an impact on your personal belief anyways. I believe so. So I did not know that there were lie detector tests given to this family, and I didn't know that they failed them in regards to the questioning about the stalker. And apparently the first story that they said when they were interviewed by police right after the situation is kind of contradictory to what they've said later on. So there are some contradictories in their story. A lot of people on Reddit, I went down the Reddit hole. A lot of people feel like mom is very theatrical. She's very hysterical. Some people question, is this a case of Munchausen by proxy? That earlier illness that I mentioned with Morgan overcoming in the beginning, is that something to do with mom? Did mom attempt to make her ill? Because with Munchausen by proxy, usually it is a person who, creates the health issue of someone else, right, for the attention of helping them, or I don't have the definition in front of me here, but one of the main things I think in this case on Reddit, if you go on Reddit and you look up Morgan Ingram, Munchausen by proxy is mentioned in regards to her mom Tony, and they go back pointing to that earlier illness as being a sign. Okay, and then the fact that mom is chronicling about the stalking on her blog and talking about it, and even to this day still continuing this story. So is she continuing the story because this is what she truly believes happened to her daughter, or is it something more sinister? So that's where we're at today, and that's where I'm going to stop because I feel like I went on too long longer than what I anticipated. So, all right. So anyway, I'm going to start here. I've got 3 decks. I've got the After Tarot, I've got the Heaven and Earth, and I've got the Urban Tarot deck. So I'm going to start with Heaven and Earth. Okay. And for the first question, I just kind of want to, I kind of want to see where Morgan's mind frame was at the time of her death and right prior to and leading up to it. So I kind of want to see if we can find out what was going on in Morgan's state of mind. Alright, so what was going on in Morgan's state of mind prior to her passing? What would Morgan like to share with us? Alright, what would Morgan like to share with us? What's going on in Morgan's frame of mind before her passing? What's going on in Morgan's life? I remember a few weeks ago, it might have been even longer than that, someone asked me why I pull my cards from the middle of the deck. And, you know, my answer to that was just everybody has their own method for pulling their cards when they are reading tarot cards or when they're shuffling. Some people I know shuffle and they pull all their cards from the top. Some people will pull from the top and then one from the bottom. Some will pull all from the bottom. It's just your personal preference, really. There's no right or wrong way of doing it. I like to just pull randomly through the deck. I don't like pulling from the top. Once in a while I'll pull one from the bottom, but I definitely don't like pulling just from the top. So I do like to mix it up, and that's just how I do it. But I thought that was an interesting question. A good question, actually. All right, so what do we got here? The Fool. Interesting. Definitely describing Morgan, I think. Five of Swords. 7 of Pentacles. Okay, let's stop here for now. Alright, so it's interesting how the first row here in the back came out. We've got the Fool, the 8 of Pentacles, the 9 of Cups, the 4 of Pentacles, and the 8 of Swords. And so I do feel like the first row here is, you know, Morgan kind of telling us how she felt, because remember, this question is about her state of mind at the time of her death and leading up to that time. And I feel like she was definitely a free spirit. She was on her journey. Okay, that Fool to me is definitely describing her in her life, at the stage of where she was at. You know, going to school, you know, a dancer, just all of those things to me is encompassed into this card. Okay, so that was where she was in her life. Also, a little bit of naivety, because I do feel like sometimes this card comes out when that is going on as well, and just not necessarily really expecting it to go like this, not expecting things to turn out like this. Had no clue, really. And then we have the 8 of Pentacles, which I do feel like, again, you know, this is a work card. You know, this is a girl who is a dancer. She's a photographer. She's got hobbies. I think she was, if I'm not mistaken, I think she was a certified yoga teacher. She was in college. I don't know if she worked or not, but this was a girl who had a lot of things going for her, and I think she was a hard worker at each one of them. I think this really represents all of those hobbies and all of those likes that she had, and just her focus and her determination on all of those things. Let me see if I can change my fan. Okay. All right, so I do think that is definitely, to kind of get an idea, this is just definitely describing, I think, Morgan really well. And, just full of life. I think that overall she was happy. She was, I think she was definitely a happy individual. But then we start seeing a change, okay? So we go from full of life, happy, and I think really with these two next to each other is important, because this card here, I'm looking at all of these hobbies and all of these activities that she was doing, all of her likes, going to school, dancing, photography, and then I've got this fulfillment card, this happy card right next to it. And so I feel like those things really brought her happiness. Those are the things that really truly made her happy. And then we go down the line and we have home and we have this Eight of Swords. And so something does kind of change from here to here. The Four of Pentacles is home. This is home, okay? It's a financial card. It's a frugal card. It can represent, cutting back on money, spending, things like that. That's usually what it means in a nutshell. But I look at these Four Pentacles, okay? These Four Pentacles as a foundation, okay? It's home. And usually it is, it does have something to do with your home spending. So this might be a card that comes out and says, well, you know what, there's going to be some things that you're going to have to cut back on because of, this or that or whatever. But it evolves around the foundation, the home. And so there's something here. I feel like on one hand, there was happiness, definitely with these things that she had going on in her life, but there were some struggles as well, okay, because now we get into the Eight of Swords, and so this is a feeling of being trapped, being bound. And so I do feel like just looking at this top row, I feel like Morgan, for the most part was happy. I think she had a good life. She had a good future. She was excited about her future. She enjoyed what she was doing in her free time. But there were some things that she was struggling with, I think, at home. And, Eight of Swords, that's not a good sign. Okay? That's not a good sign. Again, that kind of makes me wonder, is this about mom? Now, I haven't seen anything that indicates mom yet, but this does kind of make me feel like, is this a result of, being trapped? Or is this a result of being frightened in her home? We've got this stalker situation. So does she feel trapped, like she can't get out of this situation? So we're going to have to draw more cards, but there is something here going on at home with these two cards. And then I do want to, and she might have been really, I think she was exhausted, to be honest with you. I think she was really tired. I don't really know yet if the stalking was occurring, okay? But whatever was going on, whether it was occurring or whether she was under the belief that it was occurring, I'm not sure which one yet, but she was tired. She was tired of it, and it was draining her, and I can tell it was draining her because of these two cards here. Okay, we've got the Ten of Wands and we've got the Four of Swords. And so the Four of Swords is a reversed card, and right side up, it's a rest card. It's a rest card. Sometimes I look at it as, even if you guys can see with the glare, sometimes I look at that Four of Swords, depending on the deck and depending on the read, it can be anywhere from meditation to sleeping to exhaustion, to sometimes even death, okay, because of the way the person is laying. And, usually when it comes out, I feel like that's something that is needed. There's exhaustion, okay? With it coming out reversed, I don't feel like it was ever resolved, okay? It's like whatever was going on in her life, whatever she was carrying on her shoulders. It was never resolved. There was never any kind of finality to it. There was never a conclusion or anything like that. There was definitely something weighing on her. Okay, and I believe that this was the start of it, and it started again. I'm looking at that Four of Pentacles as a home card, a foundation, and it started at home, whatever it was, and so it was causing some real stress. Now, Mom, I know Mom was very overprotective and was on Morgan like white on rice, and so was that causing all of this stress? Because this would show, to me, when I look at this one here, I'm looking at multiple things. There was a lot of things that were causing her stress. So even though, you know, there was overall happiness at one point, or there was happiness in regards to certain things in her life, there was another side that was also stressing her out very much. And then we have the Ace of Cups, which is reversed. So, and it's interesting that the Ace of Cups, which is, again, it can be equivalent to the number 1 in tarot. It's a new beginning, the birth of something. Interesting that this came out right underneath that Fool card. So these are like beginning cards. And so this actually kind of, again, it's a sad card in this situation with it coming out reversed, because I feel like all the things that Morgan had planned in her life, she never got a chance to experience them. She never got a chance to fulfill them. And so that's kind of the way I'm going to look at that Ace of Cups, especially, like I said, with it being underneath the Fool. And then we have the Seven of Pentacles. I'm going to address that really quick because it's underneath that Four of Pentacles, and I do believe that that's the home. This Seven of Pentacles is kind of that card that says, you know, you're not quite happy with the way it turned out. Okay, you put a lot of work in it, and it's just not turning out the way you had hoped. And sometimes you take this opportunity to restart again someplace else, or you tweak it and you go forward and you learn from past mistakes. But it's definitely a card where you're not content. You're not as happy. The outcome could be better. And so it's not downright miserable, but it could be better. And so I do feel like, you know, there's something here that Morgan was not completely happy with, and it has something to do with home. Is this a good sign though? Because this kind of almost makes me feel like maybe she thought that there could be a way to fix it. I'm not quite sure yet, so I have to draw more cards, but I do feel like this is definitely connected to home and just the overall outcome of what was going on. And then we have the Five of Swords. So the Five of Swords, this is like defeat. They literally say defeat on the card. I kind of feel like this was the way Morgan felt. Literally, she felt defeated. There was something going on where she felt like she couldn't win no matter what she did. With words, with thoughts, anything, she could not win. And who did she feel this way with? Was it the stalker? Did she feel like she could not win the stalker? She just wasn't going to figure out who it is, or she wasn't going to overcome it? Was it her relationship with her mom? You know, was that just a relationship that she felt was too far gone to try to fix, or was there something else going on? But this, to me, definitely, you know, with this one here, the Four of Swords, the Ten of Wands, and the Eight of Swords, to me, is definitely some signs of depression coming up. Definitely. When that Eight of Swords comes up, or the Nine of Swords, the Five of Cups, things like that, when they start coming up in a reading, that can literally mean some serious issues. And so I don't think it was 24/7. I think she had happy moments, and she had times where she experienced happiness and fulfillment, but there were some other issues as well that she was dealing with, and it very well could have been, I think, starting from the home. So that's the first reading. So let's pull again, and I want to see what else comes out. So now I actually want to ask about the stalker. I want to ask, what information can we find out about stalker? Was there a stalker? Okay, so did Morgan Ingram have a stalker? Did Morgan Ingram have a stalker? Did Morgan Ingram have a stalker? Ace of Swords. Nine of Wands. The Devil. The Eight of Cups. Wheel of Fortune. Damn. Ten of Swords. Queen of Cups. Three of Wands. Oh, damn. Nine of Swords. Oh my God. Seven of Wands. Alright. I just literally got done saying when things like the Five of Cups, the Eight of Swords, the Nine of Swords come out, that can definitely indicate some feelings of depression. And then I go ahead and I pull, I've got literally the Nine of Swords and the Ten of Swords. So I do feel like Morgan was definitely going through something emotional, definitely going through something at the time of her death. And I'm looking at the girl in the bed, and you know, we know that Morgan was literally found in her bed the morning that she was discovered. And so in her arms, you know, if you listen to the way her dad describes finding her, with her arms being up, you know, and then I'm looking at this person here in this card with the arms up, and so I have no doubt that we are talking about Morgan here. And sometimes when I look at that Ten of Swords, I mean, you can look at it in the multiple, you know, ways, and it can be, you know, sometimes this card I look at as betrayal, which in order to be betrayed, it has to be by someone that you would expect otherwise from. You wouldn't expect this from them. And so I have to keep that in mind. But the poor girl was really suffering with something. She was dealing with something. She wasn't sleeping. I can tell you that. She definitely wasn't sleeping. So this also makes me feel like maybe the closet story, you know, there's something to that. I don't know if it's true. I don't know what's going on with it. But sleep, okay, her sleep pattern was definitely messed up, because with that Four of Swords and this Nine of Swords, there was definitely something going on where she was not getting the sleep that she needed. She was exhausted. So, you know, let's just put that on the table too. I don't know what's going on with the sleep, if it was just because she was scared. Was she scared from the stalker? Again, I'm not sure yet, okay? But she was definitely scared of something. Now, we've got the Queen of Cups. So is this the person that she's scared of? Possibly, maybe. I would consider this mom. Queen of Cups is coming up, mom. It's not coming out reversed, but it is coming up nonetheless. And then we have a lot of defense cards, a lot of defensive behavior and thoughts. We've got the Seven of Wands and we've got the Nine of Wands. The Nine of Wands is reversed. So, you know, usually I do feel like we're talking about Morgan in this situation, and she was constantly on the defense. So I do feel like, since the Queen of Cups is coming up, I do feel like this is Morgan constantly defending herself to her mom, constantly explaining herself, and not feeling like she wins the fight. All right, that Nine of Swords, or excuse me, that Nine of Wands reverse tells me that she doesn't often win the arguments, okay? If there's something going on, or if there's an issue with mom, remember, she pulled that Five of Swords at defeat. So I feel like, you know, she felt like it was hopeless. There was no way of winning with her mom. All right, and I say her mom because, like I said, that Queen of Cups makes me feel like it's mom. We're talking about mom here. And definitely some battles and some issues with mom are coming up, okay? So that is definitely coming up. And this reading here, this particular pull, did I put this backwards? This particular pull here, I asked specifically about the stalker, if there was a stalker. Now, we have some characters coming up. I do believe that the Queen of Cups is Mom, so Mom's coming up in this question. We have to take that into consideration. These two guys here, the wands guys, I take that as Morgan, so I don't take that as another character in this story. This one here, the female in this one here, I take that as Morgan as well. The Ten of Swords, I take that as Morgan. So on a question that is about the stalker, I've got two people so far. I haven't went through all the cards yet, but just from a quick glance, I've got two people so far coming up in this, and it is Mom and Morgan. Okay? So on the question that I asked in regards to a stalker, Mom and Morgan are the ones coming up, and the Devil. That's not a good sign. That's not a good sign to this as far as Mom is concerned. So let's look at these other cards here. So we've got the Three of Wands. This almost makes me feel like Morgan was considering to leave. Okay, she was considering her options. She was considering to leave home, I think. I really do. I feel like that is exactly what this card was. She was 20. Okay, she was 20, so she could very well get up and get her own place. Again, I don't know if she worked or if she had a job, but it was definitely something that she was pondering and she was wanting and she was thinking about it. And I think that that was actually giving her some hope that she could potentially get out of the situation, because I do think like this reading so far is pointing to home. And just never got to it. I actually think that that was a plan. I really do. This Ace of Swords. I really do. When I put this here next to this one here, the Ace of Swords and that Three of Wands, that to me is, something that maybe she was planning on doing. Maybe she thought, you know what, this is it. I'm done. I'm out of here. I can't win for losing here. I feel trapped. I feel like a prisoner. No matter what I do, it's wrong. I need to get my own place. That's what I'll do. That's what'll help me. I'll get my own place and I'll start my own life, and then I can focus on whatever I want. And so I do feel like that Ace of Swords and this Three of Wands was that idea. Okay, and it was kind of like exciting because I look back at that Fool card and I'm thinking, okay, that probably actually gave her a new sense of something to look forward to. And you have to wonder, did Mom know about that? Did Mom realize that maybe Morgan was maybe considering to move out? Because I really do think she was considering to leave the house, and I have to wonder if that scared the living daylights out of Mom, because Mom would then lose all control over what Morgan was doing. She would not be able to do the stalking. Let's just say Mom was behind this. That would scare her. That would be a threatening situation for Morgan to leave. So I feel like this is very important to this situation. I think Morgan was going to move out. I really do. I think she was going to leave. I really do. And then I look at this here, the Eight of Cups. This I feel like, it is Morgan. I think she was going to leave. I think she wanted to move out of that home. And I think that really frightened Mom for some reason. That really frightened Mom. She was actually hoping that it would change things. We've got this Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune, to me, when it comes out reversed, is something good to come. That's all good things. And I do feel like Morgan, in her mind, really had high hopes for this move. I really do. Now, I have not read anything about Morgan considering to move out. If you have read something like that, put it in the comment section. I haven't read anywhere out of the whole rabbit hole that I found myself in this case. I didn't see anything where it indicated that Morgan wanted to leave her home or move out or get her own place. But very much so, I think that was the case. I think that overall Morgan was a very happy young woman. I think that she was very bright. She had a wonderful future ahead of her. I think that there were some serious issues between her and her mom at home. And I don't pick up anything with Dad. I pick up Mom strictly. And I do feel like there was something really serious going on at home with Mom that was causing some severe stress and emotional issues and mental issues with Morgan. And I think she was trying to cope with that by trying to figure out her next plan of action, and I think that would have been leaving the house. And so then I have to wonder, okay, like I just said, is that a motive for mom to take it to the next level? I think I read somewhere, and I don't remember if I mentioned this in my intro, but I think I read on Reddit where one of Morgan's friends came out and said that 4 days after her death, so 4 days after Morgan's death, she was actually scheduled to meet with the police detective for the very first time about her stalking situation. So, like I said, her mom was the one that had been reporting the stalking issues to the police. It wasn't Morgan, it was her mom. And I believe that Morgan was set to meet with this investigator for the very first time. And so that was 4 days away. That was 4 days in coming. And so a lot of people have looked at that as, is that a motive possibly? Was mom scared that she was going to go in and tell the police that no, there's no stalker, I'm not concerned, my mom's blowing this out of proportion, I don't, was that a concern? Was that a cause of concern for mom possibly? And it's weird to think like that, right? Because that's not how most parents, I don't know. Anything's on the table at this point, so I'll just leave it at that. But we've got all these very, very stressful cards coming out on mom, okay? Because I do think that this is mom. And then we've got the devil as well. So, I didn't go over the devil because I think it's pretty much self-explanatory. He is reversed, okay, so I do feel like this is something that, was already entered into the situation. This was something ongoing. This behavior was ongoing. That's how I take the reversal. I do feel like this is coming up for a reason. This is a really serious card that's coming up with the 9 of Swords, the 8 of Swords, the 10 of Wands, the 7 of Wands, the 5 of Swords. These are some serious cards. This girl was going through something very, very difficult in her life, and it was brought on by this. This is not normal. This is something bad. This is something really bad. This is not someone doing a knock on the window and running away. This is something really serious in my opinion. There's something else going on in this case. And so far it's not looking good. Alright, so let me switch to the After Tarot, and I want to ask again. I'm going to specifically ask about Tony Ingram. What's going on with Tony Ingram? What's going on with Tony Ingram? Well, we've got the moon. What's going on with Tony Ingram? Tony Ingram. What's going on with Tony Ingram? Alright, let's see what we got here. Alright, so we have the 10 of Cups reversed. 8 of Cups again. Page of Swords. And the 6 of Pentacles. So let me pull a couple more. Three of Pentacles. Ego. 9 of Swords. Justice. That's a good sign. Knight of Cups. Interesting about the Knight of Cups, but I'll get to that. So, again, we have the 8 of Cups, and we have, again, I just said, I just pulled the 8 of Cups in my After Tarot, or not in my After Tarot, but in my Heaven and Earth Tarot, and I felt like it was everything to do with Morgan potentially walking away from her home, her childhood home, okay? Leaving this whole mess behind and starting anew, and it's coming out again. And right next to this card, because I do consider the placement of how they come out, right next to this card is the home, the family card, but it's reversed. So very interesting that this is coming out reversed. This just kind of tells me that the home wasn't always messed up, that there was happiness in this home, and there sometimes is happiness in this home, but something was amiss in this home as well. Okay, something is not all of what it seems. And that again leads us right into the moon card, and we know that the moon card can be secrets. And so I'm literally looking at these two cards here, and I'm saying with these two cards, not all is as it appears inside the Ingram home. Okay, there are some secrets. There's some things that we don't know about that have not come to light yet, or potentially have come to light but just haven't been focused on enough or looked into. But this right here is definitely things are not what they appear to be on the surface in that home. Okay, so take it as you will, but there's some issues. And again, we've got the Nine of Swords, and this one here is reversed, and it's interesting with this one being reversed because again, this is the after tarot. So the whole point of the after tarot is that they take the traditional image that's on the Rider-Waite, okay, the regular image that we're all familiar with, and then they actually add what they think would happen in the story just a few seconds afterwards. So for example, this one here is a Nine of Swords. It's, you know, this actually shows the person attacking their issues, dealing with their demons, fighting their demons, and knocking those swords off so they don't have to deal with them anymore. So I feel like it's coming in reverse because she did not have the opportunity to do that. She had these issues. She had these issues that she was dealing with, but she never had an opportunity to deal with them like this guy is dealing with them. He's literally battling his demons, right? And eventually you would hope that he's going to overcome and he's going to win and he's going to be okay, and those swords can come down off the wall and he can finally get some much needed rest and move on with his life. But I feel like, again, because it's coming out reversed, Morgan did not have that opportunity to do that. Okay, so she just did not have that opportunity. And again, we've got ego at play. So someone has a big ego in this case. Could it be a little bit of police, investigators, pathologists? Could it be parents? But there's someone here that looks to be the hero. And when do we have a hero? We do have a hero when we have Munchausen by proxy as a potential issue, right? That person we know likes to be the hero. That person likes to be looked at as, I tried to save them, I tried to protect them, I was doing everything I could, I was doing this, I was doing that. And so is it that, or is it the investigators potentially, you know, maybe letting their egos kind of get into the way of something? But the ego card is coming out, and so and the ego card is coming out under home, right? I do, like I said, I look at where the cards are placed. The ego card is right under home, and so it makes me feel like this ego here is from someone inside the home. Now it's a man, okay? It's a man on a horse, but there's also a woman in there, and so, you know, is it dad? Maybe does dad have an ego issue? Is something going on there? But the ego is coming, I feel, from home. All of this is home. And then we have the Three of Pentacles. So interesting that the Three of Pentacles is coming out because I just mentioned dad, and I feel like this is the first time that dad is entering into this story. We've got three people here. We've got mom, we've got dad, we've got Morgan. That's who I think the three represent. But the fact that it's coming out in reverse makes me feel like dad potentially does not know what the hell is going on. Dad might not be in the least aware of what's happening. He might just look at the issues between, you know, Morgan's mom and Morgan as just regular motherly, you know, issues, just nothing out of the ordinary, nothing out of the norm. That could be it. I kind of feel like it's because they were all three not on the same page. They all had different ideas on how to deal with things, and just were not in agreement on hardly anything. So that's what I think the Three of Pentacles is in this situation. They weren't seeing eye to eye on things. And again, I'm not sure how that plays in with Dad. I don't know if maybe Dad and Morgan, had a good relationship. I don't know. I don't know what the dynamics were between the three. I have no clue, but I do feel like there were issues with the three of them. And then we have the Justice card, which is good. I will go over that at the end. And then we have the Page of Swords, which is interesting. I do without a doubt feel like this is Morgan. I feel like Morgan definitely did not mind telling her mom, where to put it, more or less. I look at this Page of Swords as a younger person who sometimes speaks before they think of the consequences. They don't think of the consequences when they speak. This is someone who is, it's swords, so it's intellect, it's your ideas, your thoughts, and so, again, it's someone younger, and I feel like sometimes, almost sometimes Morgan would say harsh things to her mother. I really do. That's what I feel like this card is. And Mom does admit that when Morgan came home that evening that she did mumble the word bitch under her tongue. And I do feel like this is coming out for that very reason. And so I feel like it's also coming out because Morgan herself is feeling, feeling somewhat regret that she would speak that way, but that was just how she felt at the moment, and she was young, and she just did not know any different at that time. She didn't think of the consequences, but I do feel like that is what this card is, and so I also feel like this is an indicator that it happened more than once, so I do feel like it's, again, pointing to issues between Morgan and Mom. And then we have these two here at the end, and I do feel like these are connected. We've got the Six of Pentacles and we've got the Knight of Cups. This is the first time, besides the home, that someone from the outside is coming into this reading, because so far everything has pointed to home. Everything has pointed to home. This is, like I said, the first indication that someone else from the outside is coming in. And it's in the form of the Knight of Cups, so it would be in the form of a potential suitor or a boyfriend, some sort of relationship, friend, something with Morgan. But this is someone I feel like is connected to this Six of Pentacles as well, and that's a good card. That's a reciprocation card. It's to me someone I think that Morgan relied on. What they were giving and taking, it could have been anything. It could have been what are these pentacles referring to? Is it referring to drugs? I don't feel like there's anything negative coming from this Knight of Cups. I really don't. They're both coming up upright. They're not coming out reversed. But this is, to me, an outsider that is giving something to Morgan, okay? Whether it be in the form of, you could argue emotional fulfillment, or again, like I just said, could it be something like drugs or pills or alcohol or money or anything like that? But there was some sort of exchange between Morgan and this person. Now, what I feel like is going on is that there potentially were things that maybe Morgan had been given to take from someone. Okay, there were, there was, obviously things found in her system, but I don't get anything sinister about it because of the fact that the cards are upright and there's nothing really bad coming up with it. But it's concerning enough to pull more cards on this particular situation. So I have to ask in the next reading, in the next card, who is this Knight of Cups and what is he giving? So let me keep those out really quick. So let's keep these out. I want to know who is the Knight of Cups and What's being exchanged? Who's the Knight of Cups and what's being exchanged? Who's the Knight of Cups and what's being exchanged? Who's the Knight of Cups and what's being exchanged? Page of Cups. Okay. All right. So, I feel like this is the answer to my question here. This is who the Knight of Cups is. Remember, because the Eight of Swords, this is Morgan. That's her feeling trapped. And I feel like whoever this Knight of Cups is was someone who was there to try to help her. It was someone trying to get her out of the situation that she found herself in. So he was there to try to, again, help her. I don't think, I didn't necessarily pick up anything bad from this, okay? This could very well be advice. These pentacles could represent advice. I mean, I know it's pentacles, so it usually represents material possessions and things like that. But, you know, sometimes I do look at this as associated to health, and it could be very well mental health, even though it's not a sword, it's a pentacle. But this was a person, I feel, that was here to support her, help her. Could it be something like pills or alcohol? Absolutely. But this person, I think, was there to try to help her. Okay, I don't think that this Knight of Cups is trying to harm her. I think he's trying to help her. And I think he's trying to help her from the situation that she finds herself in. And interesting, because, you know, here, this one here, I think he realizes that she's not in a good situation. We've got a number 3 again. We've got three people. 3 people who are not celebrating, 3 people who are not having a good time. So I do think, again, this person, there could have been, I feel like there could have been a relationship where she was really leaning on this person for support, all sorts of support, and he was trying to help her get out of this situation. Was she planning on moving in with a boyfriend maybe? Was he offering for her to move in with him? Was he offering her some sort of assistance to try to deal with what was going on in her home? I'd be curious to know that. But I definitely feel like he felt he was coming in to help her and get her out of the situation in which she found herself in at home. Again, Page of Cups. So I do feel like, you know, with the Knight of Cups and the Page of Cups, we're talking about a relationship here, a boyfriend. And because of the way the reading has come out, I do think that this is a person that was not the stalker. I think this was absolutely a boyfriend or a friend or someone important to her in her life at that time that was trying to help her. We've got 2 people here. We've got 2 men. We've got, oh, and I forgot, I took that Justice card away, actually, and I never did go over the Justice card, so let me bring that back out. We've got two men here. We've got the King of Swords and we've got the Emperor. Okay, so I'm not quite sure what to make of this, because to me this would either be law enforcement, this would be dad, this would be investigator, but there's something here, something going on with these 2 characters here, and I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure what that is. I'm gonna have to pull a couple more cards on that. But I do feel like the plan, okay, the plan between maybe, because I really do feel like there's a boyfriend that was trying to get her to move out and get her own place, and I feel like that was actually something that Morgan was considering and never had an opportunity to follow through on that before her life was taken, and I do think it was taken. The Magician. So we've got trickery in this case coming up. We've got trickery. I take this Magician to be trickery, even though it's not reversed. It's something that someone wants to happen in this case. Okay? Very interesting that this is coming up. I really do. I feel like this absolutely goes right back to that Moon card and the Ten of Cups reversed. Remember I said not all is as it seems on the outset of this family home. this is definitely a part of that. There's a form of trickery and deception being played out here. And we don't know the whole story. We really don't know the whole story. The good news is that we do have the justice card coming out, and so I do feel like there potentially could be justice in this case. I think it would definitely absolutely depend on new evidence, just like the police stated in what I read. There would have to be new credible evidence to come forward, or to for them to be able to reopen the case, because I think that the case is closed at this point. And it's interesting too, because usually the Lady Justice has a blindfold, and the scales are balanced, but usually she's blindfolded, and in this particular case she is not. And so that's kind of different. Normally, like I said, Lady Justice is blind, so that kind of really just indicates it's meant to indicate that no one is above the law. Doesn't matter who you are, okay? The law is the law. No one's above the law. And that kind of struck me when I seen this one, that Lady Justice is not blindfolded in this case. And so is there something that's being overlooked? Is this trickery? Is this magician here? Is this magician kind of in this situation, is it making the legal system blind for some reason? Are they overlooking something because they're being deceived? So that's interesting. I just wanted to mention that. All right, so I know I'm getting kind of late on time. I'm at an hour and 11 minutes, and I do really want to pull a couple more cards on the King of Swords, and I might have to skip. I don't really want to skip, though. I was going to skip the Urban Tarot. Let me pull a couple more on this one here. We've got Four of Swords again, or Four of Pentacles. We've got the Four of Pentacles again. Interesting with this particular Four of Pentacles, because it looks like we have the Grim Reaper. Now this is what I'm considering in this particular case a card representing home. It came out in the first pull. And I said it's home. Something's going on at home, and he looks distressed. Okay, she was distressed when she was at home, and the Grim Reaper coming up in this particular card is also concerning. I do feel like whoever caused her death is from the home. I really do. I mean, for all entertainment purposes, I mean, I don't know for a fact. I'm just saying this is my interpretation, my opinion of the cards. Not everyone will agree, and that's absolutely okay. But I do feel like everything that I have pulled tonight is indicating that it's coming from home. The stress is coming from home. But the Ace of Swords, there was a plan. There was a plan. She had an idea. I think Morgan, there was something going on in Morgan's head. There was some new plan of action, new thoughts, new way of thinking. I don't know if maybe she discovered something. I'm not sure what's going on, but this Ace of Swords has come out twice now. And swords, again, are air, so there are our thoughts, our ideas, our mind, our intellect, and so this is something new. This is like a birth of something, okay, like a light bulb moment. And I feel like perhaps this is coming out because did Morgan have a light bulb moment? Did she discover something? Was she getting tired of something? Was there something that was told to her? Did she learn of something? That's kind of, the way I'm looking at this, especially with the owl. And, sometimes owls, at least I think that's an owl. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe, I don't know what it is. But I do feel like I look at it as a messenger, though. Okay, that's what I'm looking at, the bird as a messenger. And so did someone tell Morgan something that caused concern? And she was going to move out or leave or something, and did that threaten mom, possibly, or both, mom and dad? Because now I do feel like I'm potentially getting both parents. And then we've got the Two of Cups. So the Two of Cups, again, I feel like there was a relationship between Morgan and someone else. I really do. I feel like there was some sort of bond that she had with someone, and this person was trying to help her get out of the situation. And that information could very well have come from this person here. But we've got the King of Wands, we've got the King of Swords, and we've got the Emperor. I'm still not sure quite, is this Dad? Is this Dad, and why is he coming up? Again, we've got home. So I do feel like it is Dad. To me, that confirms that it's Dad. Why is Dad coming up? Why is Dad coming up? Queen of Wands. Okay, so Queen of Wands, I take that as this is definitely Dad. Okay, the Queen and King of Wands, that's definitely Mom and Dad. So that leaves us with the King of Swords and the Emperor. Who is the King of Swords and the Emperor? And then I'll have to end the reading. I won't be able to get into my Urban Tarot. Alright, so who's the King of Swords and the Emperor? Queen of Pentacles. King of Pentacles. Okay, that's enough message for me. So when I ask who this is, and I keep pulling partners, okay, I've got King and Queen of Wands. I ask again who this is, and I pull another partner, Queen and King of Pentacles. That's my answer. My answer is this is Dad. Okay, that's Dad. Dad is coming up in this reading as well. So definitely the message to those cards is that this is Dad. Now, why is Dad coming up is what we need to know. Again, we've got another bird here. So there's, again, communication. You know, that sword sticking in the ground, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking to myself, did Morgan tell her dad something? Did she express something to her dad? When he went into the bedroom that night, claiming to have talked to Morgan before she went to bed, was it as what he claims it was? Did she tell him anything else that he did not relay? I feel like there's something going on here. There's something going on here, I think, with communication. Some sort of, with that bird and the sword, I feel like there was something that she expressed to her dad that night in the bedroom. And then that leaves us with the Emperor. So, did Morgan say something or tell her dad something that night in the bedroom? Did Morgan tell her dad something that night? Did Morgan tell her dad something that night? She told her something about, she told her dad something about her mom. Remember, this is Mom, Queen of Cups. She came up in the beginning of the reading, and I just asked, because I do believe that this is Dad that night that went into the room. When I asked, what did she tell, or did she tell her dad something about her mom, and the Queen of Cups comes up. That cannot be a more clearer answer. I think that Morgan said something to her dad about her mom. You just pull a couple more cards. You could literally go on for like hours and hours on this, really. The Six of Swords. I bet you she told her dad that she wanted to leave. I think that she told her dad that she wanted to leave the house. She wanted to move out. And I bet you anything, her dad then went and told the mom that that's what she wanted to do. This is unbelievable. One more card. Page of Wands. Seven of Wands, fighting, arguing. Wheel of Fortune. Okay. So, honestly, I never really gave this a thought, but I think a lot came out in this reading. I do think that I think that Morgan had found out something. She had discovered something. I think that she probably had a relationship with someone going on at that time. That person was trying to help her deal with what was going on at home. I think that she was planning on moving out. I think that that day when her dad went in to talk to her, I think that she did express concerns about her mom. And I think that she did tell her dad that she was considering to leave. And I think that Dad went back and told Mom that she was considering to leave or move out. And Mom possibly got into an argument. Okay, we've got the Seven of Wands. I think that it's possible that Mom and Morgan maybe got into it again. But the Wheel of Fortune here. The Wheel of Fortune comes out, but this time it comes out reversed. And so I think this is time is of the essence. Something had to be done. I feel like Mom felt pressed because something had to be done before, before Morgan made any kind of moves. Did Morgan find out that Mom was maybe not telling the truth about a stalker? Possibly. But there was something going on, I think, between Morgan and Mom. And Morgan found out about something I think Mom was doing. And I think she expressed that concern to Dad. And I think Dad then turned around and told Mom. And, this here resulted a confrontation. There was a confrontation that resulted from it. And then we've got the Page of Wands. I do kind of feel like this is definitely Morgan again leaving. And if you look at this card here, it looks like this person is walking away from the person in the back. So it's like turning your back on someone, abandoning someone. Is that what maybe Mom felt like? Maybe that her leaving was abandoning her. Maybe Morgan leaving was turning her back on her mom. There's something I feel that's off with Mom in this reading, and I'm going to leave it at that. But I do feel like Morgan was planning on moving. I really do. I think she wanted to leave the house, and I think she had that plan for a while. Not a very long time, but enough. And I think that she expressed that to Dad. And I think that Dad told that to Mom, and that would be my guess based on my interpretations of these cards. You may disagree, and that is absolutely okay. I don't doubt the cards that come out at all. I think that the cards that come out for a reason. I believe that the mistake can come in sometimes your interpretation. You do your best. I do my best with the cards that come out. But that's all we can do is our best. But I do believe that there is absolutely no mistake in the cards that come out. The cards that come out are meant to come out. It is how we interpret them that we hope is going to be the correct way. Okay, so I do feel like there was some important messages with the cards that came out today. But I want to leave it there because I'm already at an hour and a half, almost an hour and 20 minutes. I did have another deck, but I'm going to leave that. I'm not going to do that tonight because the timing is off. But this is a really crazy case, so let me know what you guys think. This is an interesting one. I would be really curious to see what your thoughts are on this case and what your thoughts are on Mom. But yeah, so until next time, you guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and I will see you soon. Bye.